This video is of some stuff that I also saw on my trip down south that didn't warrant their own videos. Starting with this river barge on the Mississippi River crossing from Missouri into Tennessee. We had lunch in Jackson, Tennessee, and stopped by the Casey Jones Railroad Museum. Illinois Central 382 of 460, which was the locomotive that Casey Jones drove when he died in the crash on April 30th, 1900. The real 382 claimed many more lives throughout its career until 1935 when it was finally cut up. This engine is Clinchfield 99. Built by Waldron in 1905, it came to this museum in 1956. Also parked behind the locomotive is Illinois Central RPO and a caboose. I couldn't find any info on these two. There's also this handcar parked outside, and this caboose put way up in the air. There's also this GM&O sleeper car which came from Cincinnati in 2011. And at the nearby motel there's this former Pennsylvania Railroad caboose, as well as this other old caboose and heavyweight diner. There was also a depot museum south of town that I didn't know was there. I saw these lumber cars somewhere in Mississippi. These two CSX SD40-3s 4070 and 4073 were seen near Pascagoula. Number 4072 was originally built in 1979 for the L&N. Also in Pascagoula was the shipyard. There are quite a few boats, ships, and oil rigs here. This is Genius Star 9, which was built in 2009 as a general cargo ship. I also caught this swing bridge too. And this C-17 Globemaster III Air Force plane. This is the Diamonds at Hattiesburg, Mississippi, where Canadian National tracks crisscross Norfolk Southern tracks. At the depot they have a couple of old locomotives on display. This 040 fireless engine is Hercules Powder number 21. It runs on steam generated from a stationary boiler. This example was built by Heisler in 1935 and was donated in 1963. It used to sit at another site in town, which is why it has rails underneath itself instead of staying on the rails the rest of the train does. Some fireless locomotives in the United States were still operational until the 1980s, and some fireless locomotives are still operational in other countries today. You can see what's left of the original information plate. Also on display is Southern Railway baggage car 4531. It's a heavyweight car built in the 1920s and converted into a baggage car in 1963. It was donated here in 1971. You can barely see the lettering on its side. Bonhomie, Hattiesburg, and Southern is also on display, a 282 built by Baldwin in 1925. The B&HS was a logging road incorporated in 1923 to take over a GM&N branch line. It used this steam locomotive until 1960. The railroad also had one other locomotive like this, number 301, a 262, and a 440. There have been a few plans to move this locomotive to a new location, but none have come through yet. At the small Norfolk Southern yard, I noticed this ex-Southern container, or trailer body. They do keep quite a few freight cars here, and when I was visiting here, I was a few minutes late to see the Amtrak Crescent come through. I also noticed this old Southern flat car number 992327. It was built in 1939 and overhauled in 1977 for maintenance of way service. It even has the old tracker on the side. And here's a view of the big depot at Hattiesburg, which Amtrak still uses. Norfolk Southern 9853 is a C44-9W built in 2004. I also saw this Norfolk and Western trailer body. I would really like to go back to Hattiesburg someday, or at least see a railfan camera there. There is also this cool train bridge crossing the river into Louisiana. This was down in Vicksburg. I also saw a Delta Southern 5522, an ex-Southern GP38AC, which is a recent addition to the railroad. 5523 is basically the same thing. And here are some other assorted freight cars that I saw along the road on the Delta Southern tracks. This cut of boxcars was unusual. And this is Delta Southern 1658, built in 1952 for the U.S. Army. It is a GE 80-ton locomotive. As we crossed into Arkansas, I saw this little track machine. I saw 3 more U.S. Army 80-ton locomotives. I believe some of these were stationed in Utah at one point. Mixed freight also had some trash painters on it. I'm not sure which railroad tracks these are. And I also saw these old UP boxcars grounded in a field. These two are on the Arkansas Southern Railroad in Waldron, Arkansas. Number 3842 is a GP38-2 that worked on the Alabama Southern for a bit and was originally built for the Southern Pacific. 3845 is an XSP GP35, which also worked on the Alabama Southern. They probably shunted these covered hoppers. That does it for this piled together vacation video. Thanks for watching.